Order in the court, order in the court. We've all heard that, seen it in movies, televisions, when a judge bangs his gavel on the bench and says, order in the court. And we all know, in order for a proceedings to go forward in a logical and disciplined manner so something can be done, there needs to be order. But how far can the judge go? Well, that takes us to this week's case. Involves some real people, Fort Worth, Texas, and there we had a man, criminal defendant Terry Lee Morris. He was appearing before Judge George Gallagher. And Terry Lee Morris was on a criminal charge. And before his appearance, he was fitted with a stun collar. Now, a stun collar is a device that's placed on a defendant's leg, ankle, arm, and it delivers a 50,000 volt stun to the person in order to prevent them from engaging in some conduct that could harm others. Well, in this instance, Terry Lee Morris had a stun bracelet on his leg, and he was in the courtroom and he was not paying attention to what was going on, and he wanted to run his mouth at some volume, and the judge dismissed the jury and said, are you going to behave basically in a reasonable manner here? He continued to carry on, and the judge ordered the bailiff to stun him. He was stunned. He continued to carry on in this manner, and the judge ordered the bailiff to stun him again, which was done. Well, the fellow that was stunned, Terry Lee Morris, was not pleased with this, and he brought suit. He brought suit. The case found its way up to a Texas Court of Appeals. And there, the court looked at this and they said, yes, a judge does have the responsibility of maintaining decorum in his courtroom, but there are limits to this. And in this instance, we knew that the defendant was fitted with this stun bracelet. Now, the stun collar or the stun bracelet was there to basically provide harm from coming to others. And essentially what it's designed to do is if a person really gets out of control, that they can be, for all intents and purposes, disabled. The 50,000 watt volt is very, very substantial. And when properly administered, the person who receives that voltage many times loses complete control of all bodily function, including urination, and collapses. In this instance, that did not occur. Some question as to whether the collar was properly fitted. But the court, on review of what the judge did, the appeal court said, you know, this is going a bit too far. And it's going too far because in this instance, there was not any indication that the defendant was going to cause bodily harm to himself or to others or do any significant property damage. Sure, he's going ballistic. Sure, he was out of control. But there was no indication that he was going to engage in conduct that was going to harm others. And in this instance, it appeared as if the judge was really using the stun collar simply to exercise and demonstrate the authority of the court. Said that's not the purpose of the stun collar, it's to provide for public safety, and we had an abuse of it here. Okay, so the court found out the judge overstepped his bounds. So what do we learn from this? What do we learn from this? Well, what we learn from this is something I think many of us are well aware of, and that is when there is a court proceedings, it needs to take place with a degree of decorum that allows everybody to be heard. If you have somebody who's grandstanding, somebody who's disrupting the proceedings, that individual must be stopped. But in this instance, we've seen that there are limits to what the court can do with regard to enforcing that decorum. Very rarely, of course, do you have individuals appearing before the court that are fitted with a device that can inflict significant, shall we say, pain to them, and it's really pain that was possibly inflicted here. In most instances, the judge simply asked the bailiff to remove somebody from the court who is really going nuclear or out of control. But as we see in this case, and as we have learned, there are limits to what a judge can do. Okay, hey, we bring you this cases, we're reading cases every week, so you understand how the law works. I'm David Allen.